What is purpose? What is the meaning of your life? What does all of this mean? You're here, you're alive, you're breathing, but what is the reason that you are here? Is it just to survive? Is it just to live? Or is it for something more than just that? Today I will go into that very deeply. We'll talk about what is purpose exactly, what is meaning, and what does your life mean. So first of all, I want to say this, is that when you go through life, you do a lot of meaningless stuff. If you just get a pen and paper and write down things that don't add any value to your life, to other people's life, to anything, that is just a waste of time and energy. That is what meaningless means. It means you're wasting your time and your energy on things that don't feel important, that don't feel like it means anything. I'm gonna give an example to you. What means for most people something is being around your family. Being around your family feels meaningful because you're not wasting your life spending time with them. You're actually making memories. You're there with them, you're talking with them. It's meaningful. Another thing is eating food is meaningful because you need the food for your body to live. Working on your health is meaningful. But then there are all kinds of things that are meaningless, where you spend so much time and energy going towards something that doesn't mean anything to you, that doesn't grow you, that doesn't evolve you, that doesn't make memories, that's not memorable, or that's not important. For example, let's say you get a job, you have a simple job, and you don't learn anything in the job. What's the point? It's meaningless. Yes, it's meaningful that you get some money to survive, I get that. But besides that, there's no growth. All these hours that you work and there's no growth in you. You're not growing, you're not evolving, you're not learning. You see? And someone can have a job where it is meaningful for them because it's what their passion is, or it's what they love to do, or they can learn and grow from it. You see? Then it becomes meaningful. And that's how I want you to look at life, not just as in what is my purpose. Look at life as what is meaningful and what is meaningless. These whole things that people put on you of like, oh, you have your life purpose and that's it. Yes, to some extent that's true. You have your life purpose. But also your whole day should be evaluated of what is meaningful. Like if you're spending 90%, 80% of your time doing stuff that's meaningless, of course you're not gonna feel purpose in your life. Even if you have a life purpose, you would still have to look at your life and be like, why am I spending so much time doing something meaningless? Right? I said eating is important. You need to eat to survive. But let's say you just eat like a bunch of shit and then you spend all your money on it. You spend all your time preparing all kinds of foods that you don't really need. That's maybe not even good for your health or whatever. Or let's say you're a smoker and you're just spending all your money on cigarettes and you're just smoking every day a pack, right? It's completely meaningless, right? There's no meaning to it. And people that want to break free from addiction, the best thing they can do is just to have something more meaningful than the meaningless cycle they are in. Because addiction is a meaningless cycle. It's a cycle of doing something that's not benefiting your life. It's not making great memories either. It's not meaningful at all. It's just a waste of time and energy. And what I realized is when I got to my purpose was the moment that I realized all the things that were meaningless in my life. It didn't mean I stopped doing meaningless stuff. It's just that I became aware of like, this is super meaningless. This has no meaning whatsoever in my life. And it can be small things, right? Think about scrolling on the internet, next video, next video, next video, is meaningless in many ways. You're not applying the knowledge that you get. If you are listening to this video, you're taking notes, you're applying what I say, it's meaningful. But if you just are kind of doom scrolling and you're just clicking, it's meaningless, you see? And then you could make it meaningful if you started to create videos instead of just consuming. You see? Consumption is meaninglessness, because consumption is taking and taking and taking, and creating is what's meaningful. You see? Sometimes you need to consume to create. I get that. I understand that. Sometimes I need some advice, some knowledge, something that I could apply in my life. Right? But I apply the knowledge. I don't just listen to it and that's it. Apply the knowledge you learn. That is good. But if you get knowledge and knowledge and knowledge and you don't apply anything, and you think that you're on some high horse because you have all this knowledge but you don't apply any knowledge, there's no practicality to any of that, it's completely waste of knowledge. Knowledge should be applied, then it's valuable. Not only to you, but to the world. The world doesn't care how much you have consumed. The world cares what you can create, what you can make. You see, creators are getting value back from the world. Creators are being blessed sometimes in great ways, sometimes in lesser ways, but it's always true creation, true making something, not true consuming something. So if your whole life is just consuming this, consuming that, consuming stuff, what's your life? Where's your life? Where's your meaningful life that you have envisioned for yourself? I bet that if you go back to the year of 16, 15 years old, that you had like a vision of your life. You had an idea of what you wanted to do. Where is that life right now? I know it's difficult. I know it's hard. You're grown up, you need to pay bills. I get it. But where's that vision? Are you just gonna let it die? Are you just gonna let it die and just do meaningless stuff and get addicted to this and get addicted to that and just work a job that's meaningless again and again and again and again and again? And not even trying to break out of it, you know? Some people, they have just such meaningless cycles going on, they're not even trying anymore. You're just like, you know, I'm just gonna settle for this job, it's fine. I'm like, how? How are you fine with something that's not meaningful to you? If it feels meaningful to you, there's jobs that people feel really meaningful and they're joyful and they enjoy it. I love it. You can work the job however much you want. But if you're having a job that you don't enjoy and it feels meaningless, it's like, why you're not trying to break out? Like, I'm not even saying why you're not succeeding. I'm saying why you're not even trying to break out. And consuming stuff is not going to help you break out of anything. It's only going to trap you more in the idea of like, if I consume a bit more, if I get the right knowledge, then something changes. No. You don't need to wait for the right knowledge. You need to apply knowledge. You need to do, you need to go, you need to create. And that's meaningful. And then you live a meaningful life. And when you make your life more meaningful, your life purpose starts to come forth. What you're meant to do. What you're meant to create for the world. That starts to come true. But it's not going to come true by just waiting, consuming, being in meaningless cycles. This is what the Buddha calls meaningless cycles. It didn't say something was wrong with the food, something was wrong with this or that. It said you're in a meaningless cycle going nowhere. Get out of the meaningless cycles, and then meaning starts to arise. Okay, and you can already look at your life. How can I create more meaning in my life? I can spend more time with family. I can spend more time thinking or applying knowledge. I can spend more time creating something. It doesn't have to be the end product. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be any of that. It just means you're gonna go in a direction and you're gonna figure it out. And along the way, things start to align and you start to see which direction to go. But you're not gonna start there. You're gonna start first with realizing everything that's meaningless, what you do in your life right now. And you might be shocked. And it might be hard to admit to yourself that I've been doing this meaningless stuff and wasting this time and energy. And it's like, yes. For what? For nothing. Okay? You have to admit that. It's painful to admit that, but you have to admit that you have been wasting your time and energy. If you cannot admit that, you cannot grow. You get to admit your faults. I have to do too. Otherwise, I cannot grow. So I have to admit I'm in meaningless cycles. Secondly, I have to look at where in my life is there already meaning. Okay, eating food, it's meaningful because my body needs to survive. I cannot survive without food. But is it meaningful to eat 10 bags of chips a day? No, right? So you cut out the chips, you focus on just eating. Okay, that's meaningful. Okay, now let's say working out is meaningful, right? Because you need to keep this body healthy to survive. But is it necessary to get a six-pack? No, so cut that out, right? That's not necessarily meaningful, that's more ego, right? And it's fine, but it's like, it's not meaningful, right? So, unless you're some gym coach, and that's what you need for marketing or something. Another thing is like, what about relationships? Is it meaningful to have a lot of like short hookups? Probably not, right? So then you cut that out of. And then you can find something more meaningful, like a meaningful relationship. And you look at your life in all these ways, right? You look at life in all these ways, in all directions, not just your career. And then the rest of your life starts to become meaningful. Guess what? You start to get aligned with your purpose. Because now you're aligned with purpose, and then your bigger purpose, your career path, that starts to bloom forth. That starts to come forth. But it has to start with all the stuff, because first, all that meaningless stuff has to stop. Or at least become way less. Right? You can do it here a little bit there, but it has to come down. It has to come way, way down. Okay? If you're addicted, good luck on becoming a meaningful, purposeful leader and creator. If you want real meaning in your life, you have to get rid of those addictions. You have to get rid of those meaningless cycles. You have to get rid of things that waste your time and energy. And focus on purpose. Focus on your mission here. Why you're born, why you're here, why you're alive, why you're breathing. If it's just to survive, what's the motivation? Are you really so motivated to survive, to go and go into endless meaningless cycles? No. I feel there's much more to you. You don't want to just survive, you want to live. You want to create, beauty. You want to create something. And I believe every single one of us has that, but we're so distracted by the meaningless stuff that we don't have the focus and energy to even see and even pursue those dreams, to pursue a meaningful career, a meaningful path. You have to let go of stuff that doesn't mean anything to you. Yes, it gets you some pleasure. Yes, it gets you something temporary. But looking back at your life, you can see all those moments that were meaningless. And if you would die in this moment, you would regret spending so much time and energy on stuff that doesn't mean anything. And then you can't blame anyone else but yourself for organizing your life in a way that's meaningless. Because I get it, you're addicted maybe to something. It's hard. But guess what? It's going to be a lot easier when you have something meaningful in your life. When you're adding meaning in your life, it becomes more easy to let go of meaningless stuff. Because you don't just let go of meaningless stuff and that's it. Now you also have something to replace that with. You need to replace your meaningless stuff with something meaningful. That's what's going to get you to that direction. That's what's going to make it amazing. You see, I'm so passionate about purpose, and I will make a lot of videos about purpose, and I might actually make this channel only about purpose because I feel so much passion behind this topic for me, because it's a very personal topic to me. And so you will see much more of it. If you want to see more of it, subscribe, don't forget to like, and I will see you in the next video.